Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show that really tries to cut through the noise and get you to the heart of what matters.
Yeah, we try.
Today, we're plunging into something I think is, well, incredibly powerful and just deeply human, storytelling.
Absolutely.
And you might think, okay, I know what a story is, but what if the key to like deeper connections, maybe a better career, even just a richer personal life was right there? Just by understanding how to tell a truly compelling story.
That's exactly where we're headed. We're taking a deep dive into Matthew Dix's book, Storyworthy. It's pretty acclaimed.
Heard good things.
Our mission today really is to offer you a bit of a shortcut to becoming a more effective storyteller. We'll pull out some surprising facts, some really practical techniques you can use, right away.
Oh, good. Like useful stuff.
Yeah, whether you're, actually performing on a stage or maybe leading a meeting or even just chatting with friends and family, it's about getting informed on what makes a story, well, worthy, as he puts it.
Okay, so we all tell stories, right? Or maybe we think we do. But Dix makes this really sharp distinction between just a casual anecdote and what he calls a true story.
He does.
What does he mean by that? And why is that idea of change over time so central?
That's a really crucial point. For Dix, a true story is personal. It's a narrative, something that genuinely happened to you, the person telling it.
Right, not fiction.
Not fables or folk tales, no.
Yeah.
But the real kicker, as you said, is that it must show change over time. If you think about it, like a romp or a drinking story, maybe a vacation story, they might be entertaining for a minute, but if nothing fundamentally shifts for the teller or connects with the listener in a lasting way, it just doesn't have that impact. You just heard a sequence of events, really, not a journey.
You know, that really resonates. I've definitely been guilty of launching into some long vacation recap where, honestly, nothing really happens emotionally.
We all...
And I can almost see the listener's eyes glazing over. So, okay. If a list of events isn't a story, what is the core thing, that transformative element we should be looking for?
That brings us right to what Dix sees as the kind of fundamental truth of great storytelling. The 5-second moment.
5 seconds, okay.
Yeah, and it's not about the whole plot. It's that single, often kind of small, maybe sudden instant of transformation or realization, some kind of fundamental change in your narrative. It's the emotional core. It's the profound why. Why does this story actually matter to anyone listening?
So this 5-second moment, it kind of reshapes how we look at stories we thought we knew. You mentioned Jurassic Park earlier. I mean, most of us probably think that's about, well, dinosaurs.
Right. Big teeth running.
But Dix sees something else entirely.
He absolutely does. He argues the movie isn't really about the dinosaurs. It's about Alan Grant, the paleontologist.
Okay.
And his transformation. He starts out practically despising kids, right?
Right.
He even uses that velociraptor claw fossil to show a kid how he'd be gutted. Right. His 5-second moment comes later. He's perched up in that tree protecting the kids, and he just lets that same velociraptor claw fall to the ground.
Oh.
He's no longer clutching this symbol of his, past attachment. He's choosing the children he's come to care for. It signifies that shift from cynical academic to, well, protector.
That's a great way to look at it. And it's not just huge blockbusters. He uses Raiders of the Lost Ark too. Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Indy transforms from this total scientific skeptic, dismissing the power of God or ancient artifact.
Right, hocus pocus.
Exactly. His 5-second moment is right at the climax. He yells at Marion, "Close your eyes." He realizes in that instant that his newfound belief, his faith in the Ark's power, is what's going to save them.
He goes from skeptic to believer.
Wow. In an instant. And Dix has powerful personal examples, too. In his charity theft story, his 5-second moment is realizing he knows absolutely nothing about true loneliness after meeting this widower. Or in another story, this is going to suck. His near-death experience, the car crash, it's really just the vehicle. The real 5-second moment comes later, in the emergency room, when he looks around and realizes his friends. They're his family.
So if we're aiming for impact, this 5-second moment is the absolute peak, the purpose of the story.
Yes, the pinnacle.
And you need to place it as close to the end as possible to really maximize that emotional punch.
Exactly. Without it, a story just... it becomes forgettable. It lacks that resonance.
Oh, it's what connects us, right? I mean, few of us have been chased by dinosaurs.
Hopefully not.
But we all know what it feels like to be lonely or to find family in unexpected places, that's universal.
Precisely. So once you grasp that core concept, the challenge becomes, okay, how do you find these moments in your own life?
Right.
Dix realized he couldn't just wait for, near-death experiences or getting arrested. He needed a system, something to uncover the little moments too.
And this is where homework for life comes in.
Yeah.
It sounds, well, powerful, but also maybe a bit demanding, like daily discipline.
It can seem that way.
For someone who might struggle with that, what's like a simple first step, Dick suggests? How do you just get started?
It's surprisingly simple, actually. At the end of each day, you just take a moment, reflect, and write down just a few sentences, a little snippet, about the single most story-worthy moment, even if it feels totally insignificant.
Just one thing.
Just one. It's about capturing those small moments so you remember them later. And sometimes, it even helps you recover forgotten memories. But the real insight here, it isn't just about collecting stories.
Okay.
It's about fundamentally changing your relationship with time. By actively looking for these tiny, meaningful moments, you start to realize how much richness you're actually living through. Time feels less fleeting. Life feels richer, fuller.
That's a profound shift. It's not just about performance fuel.
Not at all. And Dix found that these tiny stories, the seemingly small ones, are often the most compelling. They connect deeply with universal human experiences.
Like the story about his son Charlie throwing food.
Exactly. Which leads to his wife revealing something incredibly personal about his own secret childhood hunger. It starts as this tiny, ordinary dining table moment, but it becomes this powerful story about connection and trust.
Wow.
And it resonates with anyone who's ever hoped their children's lives would be better than their own.
That's powerful. And you mentioned keeping these snippets in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, just a simple spreadsheet. And over time, you can start to see patterns you'd otherwise totally miss. Dix actually found a story just by noticing a pattern in the rare arguments he had with his wife about installing air conditioners.
Just from the daily notes.
Just from the notes, it's like finding this narrative thread woven through your everyday life.
So beyond the daily snippets, he offers other ways to dig up stories. Crash and burn sounds intense.
It's fantastic, though. It's basically stream of consciousness writing. The rule is your pen or your fingers on the keyboard never stop moving. You just embrace whatever idea comes up, no hesitation, no judgment. It kind of mirrors dreaming, that free associative state.
And what kind of stuff comes out of that? Unexpected treasures.
Totally. It often brings up completely new story ideas, surprising little anecdotes, stuff you'd totally forgotten. Dix tells about starting a session once with just the word grape.
Right, okay.
And it somehow led him to memories of, like, a mellow yellow bottle incident from his childhood, being a lifeguard, thoughts about pirates, walking on train tracks, and then this really old memory of deciding not to re-sign a military contract when he was 18.
All from grape.
All sparked by grape. You just follow the trail.
That's wild. And if you want something maybe a bit more playful, there's first, last, best, worst.
Yeah, that's a fun one. You just prompt yourself, or you could do it with others with first, last, best, or worst versions of some topic, like
worst haircut, best sandwich.
exactly, first tree or worst tree, whatever. It's a great way to quickly uncover potential story ideas, and it's also good practice for just speaking off the cuff, like a mental warm-up.
Loosens up the storytelling muscles.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've got our story seeds, these 5-second moments. We're capturing them, maybe with homework for life, maybe crash and burn. But a seed isn't a tree, right? It needs cultivating.
Right.
How does Dix guide us in actually shaping these raw moments into something truly captivating for an audience?
Okay, now we're into the craft, the art of it. And the first big decision is simply, where do you begin?
Yeah, the opening.
Dix suggests starting as close to your story's 5-second moment, the end, as you possibly can. Get right near the transformation.
It's the preamble.
Cut the preamble. And ideally, the beginning should often represent the opposite of where the story ends up, the opposite of that final transformation. It creates this really satisfying arc for the listener.
Okay, so using his charity thief story again, he starts it feeling utterly alone, right? Parked at that gas station, no money, thinking his future is just this endless series of moments where he needs help and won't get any.
Exactly. Total isolation.
Which is the complete opposite of his final realization that he knows nothing about loneliness and actually never wants to. That contrast is really powerful.
It creates that journey for the listener. And beyond the beginning, Dix talks about what he calls the 5 permissible lies of storytelling.
Okay, permissible lies definitely sounds provocative. How does he make sure this isn't just manipulation? That it actually serves the audience?
Right, it's a key distinction. These aren't about fabricating events or deceiving people for your own gain. Not at all. They're about shaping the narrative for maximum impact on the audience, making the story clearer, more compelling, more emotionally resonant.
Okay, but what are they?
Well, the two most common are probably omission and compression.
Omission.
Just
Just leaving stuff out.
strategically, yes. You leave out details, even people or subplots that distract from the core message, the main emotional journey.
Like in Charity Thief, he cut the hitchhiker, Randy. In other houses he tried.
Exactly. They didn't serve the core story, which was about that interaction with the widower. It keeps the audience focused. And interestingly, storytellers often omit endings that feel too neat. Like Dix's own redemption in Charity Thief, he actually paid the money back later.
Oh, really? But he doesn't tell that part.
No. His mentor told him, audiences don't want redemption, everyone wants the clown. Meaning, they want the lingering feeling, the unresolved tension. Omitting the tidy ending makes the story stick with you more. Leaves you thinking.
Huh. Okay. And compression.
That's condensing time and events. Think of a movie montage where years fly by in seconds. That's compression.
Right. Or like heist movies. Ocean's 11.
Perfect example. Real heists take months. Planning, execution. The movie compresses it all into a few exciting days to make it punchier, easier to follow. Focuses the drama.
Makes sense. What are the other three?
There's assumption. Making reasonable common sense guesses about details you've forgotten, but are kind of crucial. Like, maybe you don't remember the exact model of the car your Batman action figure hit in 1978, but you can make a reasonable assumption based on the era.
Okay. Plausible guesses.
Then, progression. This means sometimes changing the order of events for better emotional flow or satisfaction. Maybe a powerful moment happened chronologically earlier, but you move it to the end of the story because it provides a better emotional climax.
Ah, okay. Like saving the best for last, even if it wasn't technically last.
Sort of, yeah. And finally, conflation. This is combining multiple similar experiences or moments into a single representative scene for greater impact.
So conflation sounds like an efficiency tool, making one moment stand in for many.
Pretty much.
Could you give an everyday example? Like, say I want to tell a story about my roommate who's always messy.
Right. Instead of listing 3 separate times they left dishes in the sink, you might conflate those into one vivid scene. You describe the sink overflowing, the counter is sticky, maybe there's mold. You have one big, overwhelming reaction in the story. Even if maybe that exact level of chaos didn't happen all at once on one single day.
Gotcha. You capture the essence of the ongoing mess in one powerful image.
Exactly. It hits harder for the audience.
So all these crafting techniques, these lies, they serve this bigger goal, creating cinema of the mind, making the audience see the story.
Yes. You want them visualizing it like a continuous movie playing in their heads, not just hearing you talk about it.
How do we do that? What's the key rule?
The big one Dix emphasizes is, always provide a physical location for every moment. Every single beat of the story needs a where.
Even for backstory or internal thoughts.
Especially then, ground it in a physical place. So Dix is reflecting on his whole life while sitting in his beat-up car at a Citgo gas station. That anchors the audience, gives them a visual setting.
Right, keeps them in the scene.
And you also want to avoid things that break that immersion, like interrupting yourself to say, no, you have to understand, or asking rhetorical questions. Don't mention the word story within the story itself. And try to subtly downplay your own physical presence as the narrator. Let the story take center stage.
Keep the focus on the movie in their minds.
Precisely.
Another really interesting crafting tool Dix talks about is the but and therefore principle. What's wrong with just using and? We use and all the time.
We do, but in storytelling, and can just create a flat chronological list. This happened, and then this happened, and then this happened.
Yeah, it was a bit boring.
Exactly. But, and therefore, or, synonyms like however, so, consequently, they create momentum. They signal change and consequence. A story isn't just one thing and another. It's more like, this happened, but then this obstacle arose, therefore I had to do this.
It creates cause and effect. Forward motion.
Yes. It makes the story constantly feel like it's going somewhere new, building this dynamic tension that keeps the audience hooked. They're always leaning forward, wondering what happens because of what just happened.
Speaking of keeping the audience hooked, Dick says stakes are absolutely non-negotiable.
Oh, totally. Non-negotiable.
Why are they so vital? What happens if a story just lacks stakes?
If there are no stakes, the audience has no reason to care, no emotional investment, no desire to find out what happens next. Dix calls stakes the gears that make stories work. Without them, the story just stalls.
Okay, so how do we build them in? He talks about the elephant.
Yeah, the elephant. This is basically an early hint of the central problem or conflict. You put it out there near the beginning, it instantly infuses the story with stakes, makes the audience start wondering, okay, what's this about? How's this going to resolve?
And he says the elephant can change color.
Right. Like in Charity Thief. Initially, the elephant seems to be just the practical problem. How will he get gas? How will he get home? But then the color changes. The real elephant is revealed to be about loneliness, connection, humanity. It deepens the stakes.
And another technique, the backpack. I like this one. It's about loading the audience up with your hopes and plans.
Exactly. Before a crucial moment, you tell the audience what you were hoping for, what your plan was, what you expected to happen. You essentially hand them your backpack of expectations.
So they feel it with you.
Yes. So when Dix describes his detailed, slightly desperate plan for begging for gas money, the audience is right there with him, shouldering his hope, which makes the eventual refusal feel much more disappointing, much more impactful. You feel that letdown with him.
These techniques really pull the audience into the emotional ride.
Absolutely. He also mentions breadcrumbs, subtly hinting at future events to build curiosity without giving away surprises, and hourglasses, deliberately slowing the pace, adding lots of detail right before a big pivotal moment to really max out the suspense.
Like drawing out the tension.
Precisely. It's all about controlling that emotional journey for the listener.
Okay, let's talk humor. Is it always necessary? And what's its real purpose, beyond just getting a laugh?
Humor isn't strictly necessary, no. You can tell a powerful story without it.
Yeah.
But it's a really useful tool. It doesn't directly raise the stakes, usually, but it does a couple of key things.
Like what?
It keeps the audience engaged, especially during maybe slightly less compelling parts of the narrative. And importantly, it makes the storyteller seem more likable, more relatable. It builds connection.
And placement is key, right? He talks about an early laugh.
Yeah. Getting a laugh early on does a couple of things. It signals to the audience, okay, this person knows what they're doing, they're competent. And maybe more importantly, especially in a difficult or sad story, it subtly reassures the audience that the storyteller is okay now. They survived whatever happened. They can joke about it.
Like when Dix opens the robbery, which is about a terrifying gunpoint holdup.
His darkest story, yeah.
He opens it with a funny bit about his kids doing a ridiculous magic show.
Yeah.
That seems counterintuitive.
It does, but it creates this crucial sense of trust and resilience right off the bat. It grounds the audience before taking them somewhere dark, and then there's the laugh before you cry technique.
Ah, the contrast.
Exactly. Using humor right before a sad or difficult moment creates this powerful contrast that actually heightens the emotional impact of what follows.
Like in This Is Gonna Suck, the jokes about his car being a box of Pop-Tarts.
Right before he describes the horrific car crash in brutal detail, the juxtaposition makes the violence, the pain feel even more jarring because you were just laughing a second ago. It's an emotional whiplash.
And then a laugh can also provide tension release after a really intense moment.
Definitely. Like that blunt medical assessment from the kid after the car crash in that same story. It breaks the tension, gives the audience a needed breath.
So how do you actually be funny? Does he give techniques?
He offers a couple of simple ones. Milk cans and a baseball. Think of a carnival game. You set up the expectation, the milk cans, then deliver the surprise, the baseball hitting them. In joke terms, you save the funniest or most surprising word for the very end of the sentence.
Like the indoor pet goat? Goat is the surprise.
Exactly. Or comparing the car to a box of Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts is the unexpected, funny image. Save the punch for the end.
Okay. And the other one, babies and blenders. Sounds ominous.
It's just about creating humor by pushing together two incongruous, unexpected things. Like describing a really sweet-looking 3-year-old child as an asshole when it comes to food, or calling your grandmother who pulled your teeth with pliers a sadist. The juxtaposition of innocence and harshness or sweetness and negativity creates that humorous friction.
Okay, incongruity. But he cautions against relying only on humor. Right.
Absolutely. The ultimate goal is emotional connection, vulnerability, revelation. Humor can help get you there, but you shouldn't usually end on just a laugh. End with the heart.
The heart of the story.
Exactly. The goal is to move the audience emotionally. Humor is a tool in the toolbox, but it's not the whole construction project.
Right. Okay, so we've found our stories, we've crafted them using these techniques. Now for the actual performance. Whether that's on a stage or in a meeting or just telling a story over dinner. What's his advice on memorization? Because trying to remember every single word sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, he strongly advises against word-for-word memorization. It sounds robotic.
So what do you memorize?
Just 3 things, really. Memorize the first few sentences cold. Memorize the last few sentences cold.
No.
And in between, memorize the key scenes, the physical locations, in order.
Physical locations.
Yeah. If you know where each part of your story takes place, your brain will naturally remember what happened there. It fills in the connective tissue, the specific words, much more naturally. It sounds like you're actually recalling it, not reciting it.
That's actually a huge relief.
Yeah.
Just know the beginning, the end, and the places in between.
Pretty much.
Okay. What about eye contact? Standing up there, looking at a sea of faces can be intimidating. Do you try to look at everyone?
No, that's overwhelming. Dix suggests using guideposts. Find 3 people in the audience, one on the left, one on the right, one somewhere in the center who look engaged. Maybe they're smiling or nodding.
Okay. Friendly faces.
Friendly faces, and just make your primary eye contact with those 3 people throughout the story. By shifting between them, the entire audience feels like you're connecting with them. Plus, looking at people who are clearly enjoying it gives you more confidence.
Smart. And what about when the story gets emotional? We talked about the 5-second moment often being deeply personal. How does a storyteller manage their own feelings on stage without, breaking down?
It's definitely okay for storytellers to get emotional. It shows authenticity. But he advises trying to avoid outright weeping, as it can sometimes make the audience uncomfortable or pull them out of the story.
So how do you manage it?
He suggests practicing beforehand. If there's a particularly emotional line or moment, try saying it multiple times. Or try consciously shifting your perspective right before you get to that part. Think about something slightly different for a second. It's like an actor learning to control their performance.
Right.
Find ways to manage the intensity while still conveying the emotion.
Okay, and for people using a microphone, say, in a larger room or on stage, he says something about learning to cut through laughter or applause. Why is that important?
It's about maintaining control of the room and the pacing of your story. Like a good wedding DJ knows how to talk over the music or the crowd noise to make an announcement. You don't want to lose your momentum waiting for every chuckle to die down. You learn to speak through it just enough to bring the focus back to the narrative when you need to. It keeps the story flowing.
Dictating the flow.
Got it.
Now, Dix frames storytelling not just for performers, but as this crucial superpower in pretty much all aspects of life.
He really does.
He argues that anyone speaking to any group, whether it's a board meeting, a classroom presentation, even a family toast, has an obligation not just to inform, but to be entertaining, to engage. Why is that so vital?
Because engagement is how people listen, learn, and connect. Information alone often doesn't stick. Every presentation, every lesson, he says, needs a hook. Something entertaining or thought-provoking or surprising right at the start to grab people's attention and make them want to listen, especially those who aren't already invested.
That makes sense. You got to earn their attention.
You do.
Wow.
He tells a great story about the CEO of an engineering firm in Brazil who told him flat out, he'd rather hire poorly trained engineers who can speak well and tell stories than highly skilled engineers who are terrible communicators.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, the CEO said, I can teach them engineering. I can't teach them how to connect with people.
That's a really powerful endorsement for these skills.
It is. Good storytelling helps you stand out. It makes people smile, laugh, think, engage, remember. It makes interactions more meaningful, more productive, more memorable. It really can feel like a superpower, making you the superhero, as Dix puts it, of almost any interaction.
Okay, so to wield this superpower effectively, he also lists certain words and phrases to generally avoid. Things that can undermine that connection, like profanity and vulgarity.
Yeah, be cautious there. While they can have impact for extreme emotion or a punchline, using them excessively can definitely turn off parts of your audience and might limit professional opportunities.
Yeah.
And just avoid overly graphic descriptions of bodily functions or really creepy scenarios. He tells a story about a guy graphically describing his Thai food intestinal distress.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it just makes the audience cringe and breaks that cinema of the mind people check out.
Right. Keep it classy-ish.
Yeah.
What about celebrity comparisons? He looked just like.
Avoid them. Dix is pretty adamant. First, part of your audience might not know who that celebrity is, so the reference fails. Second, it totally breaks the cinema of the mind. Suddenly, everyone's picturing Brad Pitt instead of the character you're trying to create. And third, it's often just lazy shorthand for actual description.
So instead of, she looked like Jennifer Aniston,
Say, Jen was the kind of girl who never seemed to have a job, but always had enough money for weekends away. Describe the essence, the character, not just a famous face.
Got it. Accents are another tricky one. Generally avoid imitating them.
Generally, yes. Especially accents from other countries or cultures. It's just too easy to sound insensitive, stereotypical, or just plain bad.
Even if you think you're good at them.
Even then, the risk usually outweighs the reward. Exceptions might be, say, imitating your own parents or grandparents if it's affectionate and central to the story, or maybe your own regional accent. But Dix advises treading very carefully. When in doubt, just describe how they spoke rather than trying to imitate it.
Better safe than sorry. And the last one is a classic piece of advice. Avoid talking about the weather.
Oh, yes. He calls it the death of good conversation and the enemy of the interesting.
Harsh.
But true in storytelling, it's usually just filler, it's banal, doesn't move anything forward. If you find yourself describing the weather, change the subject. Find something that actually matters to the story.
Unless the weather IS the story, like a hurricane.
Well, okay, fair point. If the weather is an antagonist, fine. But just idle chit-chat about it being sunny, cut it.
Right. So we've really taken a deep dive here into Matthew Dix's Storyworthy. And it feels like his approach can genuinely transform not just, how you tell a story, but maybe even how you see your own life.
I think so. From finding that profound meaning in tiny everyday moments with Homework for Life, to really crafting narratives that connect deeply using those 5-second moments and the permissible lies. We've hopefully unpacked some really tangible tools you can use, tools to elevate your communication, your connections, your impact.
And maybe, as we close, here's something to think about. How many 5-second moments might you be missing? In your own life, maybe in the lives of people around you. What stories, what connections, what sort of deeper understandings are just waiting there? If you commit to actually seeing them, and maybe, just maybe, sharing them.
Yeah.
Perhaps the most powerful truths we carry are just waiting to be uncovered. For ourselves, and maybe for others too.